it's that time again. It's Sunday night with ILXCTF. I am your host, Mike Newman. How's everybody doing? So, this is a while. I haven't done this in a while. I hope everybody had a good summer, had a good track season. I don't do this during the track season because my track seasons are extremely busy. So the main thing, well, we're going to talk cross country, and that's what we do. Let me tell you, if you don't know me, my name's Michael Newman. I ran, you can see, at York and at North Central College. Had a lot of fun, success, learned a lot at those two institutions, and still have a lot of good friends from both schools. But I was on a state championship team, I was on 2 national teams, and go from there. I've been covering cross country and track and field in Illinois, not covering. I've been involved in it. So I ran, I helped at meets, assistant coach, mentored, running dad. My daughter ran, and now doing what I'm doing. So it's been 47 years, yes. Some of you are going, you haven't died yet, Mike? There's been a couple of times that I've gotten close. But so that's a little bit. Let me show you a little bit of my office. You know all of this stuff already, but bunch of Al Carius was my college coach. Mr. Newton, Joe Newton, was my high school coach, and there I am. And I'm glad I took that picture. That was the only. That's one of those pictures. Like, should I get it? But I had my two coaches together, and it's on my wall now. A lot of teammates in the background. That LTXC versus everybody was given to me by Vince Zona, Danny Kilray, when they were going through trying to get into NXN, and I fought for them a little bit. So I ended up getting a t-shirt. I have another t-shirt somewhere around here. I should replace that one, but I like that one. Reminds me of those guys. There's notes all over the wall and all that, things that I remember. Picture of Caitlin Hart. She wrote me a nice note after she graduated. And that was, so it stays there. And my daughter's thermos. So we've spent 3 minutes wasting your time. What are you going to do on Sunday night? You're going to watch the Braves and the Cardinals? Cardinals, ew. So we're going to talk about what happened every week, and we have a new segment that I'm going to try and hope it's not a train wreck. So I think one thing is my 47 years. These are all state medals from helping out coaching. There's 3 of them that I earned myself. This is the last one. So I know all of you are going to be going for a state medal like that. It's a state championship medal from 2012. Wow. So that's what all of you do your training. You're doing your during the summer. That's what you dream of. And I got to go through it once. If you go into ILXCTF.com, I wrote a blog a number of years ago that I'm going to get published. I don't know when, but I published it in book form. But it's about my junior year, and it's not really about running. Well, it is, but it's about life lessons that you learn along the way. And I learned a lot my junior year. We won a state championship. That never leaves you. Those of you that have won state championships, you know what I mean. So we had an interesting first week. Why are we running big meets this early in the year? That's another thing. I really want to write about that. You may see that Monday Morning Finish Line. So, I mean, there's a number of things that went on in the past week. One on Monday, Marcellus Mines of Joliet West. Everybody was questioning, is he healthy, is he not? He's healthy. He made it he made it look so easy, that final mile. He was like what Stuart Scott always said, cool as the back of a pillow, or Steve Winwood, cool as jazz on a summer day. He just looked so good running that final mile in 4:43 and runs 14:43. So he's healthy. Hopefully he stays healthy all year. It was a great race. 5 runners with Balser, Nold, and Das, and Brody Nelson had a great race from Oswego. So great race there. Oswego East looked good in their win. They didn't have one of their top 5 runners. Minooka won 2 meets this week. One at Yorkville. They have a nice little pack right now. They're running great. And Ella McCullum won 2 individual races, one at Yorkville and then yesterday at Normal West. So great races by those 2. And then I see on Twitter, Friday night, Grace Shaker of Glenbar North, 16:31 on that 2.95 course at St. James Farm. Now that's the second fastest time ever in the state. No, second fastest time ever on the course. Duh. And Caitlin Hart, her sophomore year, ran 16:21. So what can you say about that? That's just, it's a great time. She her first big meet is at Lake Park on the 10th, and then she runs at Richard Spring on the 17th. So we'll see a nice battle between Grace Shaker and Brooke Johnston of Lake Zurich. That will be fantastic. What else? I was at EIU Showdown. You can check the link out on ILXCTF.com in the cross country section for videos of that race. But Downers Grove North looks really good, both in the boys and the girls. Boys only had a 13-second split in winning the team title at Aniqua Valley and Bolingbrook. Bolingbrook's #1 runner collapsed at 2 miles. I hope he's doing better, but he was out of it for a little bit there. A little humid, but a little of what he didn't eat in the morning, and because he was a little bit nervous, I guess. That's what his parents said. So hopefully he's doing better. We'll see him next week at Hinsdale. The girls' side, Carissa Hamilton, Zach Close won the boys' race in about 15 minutes for 2.95 miles. Carissa Hamilton of Aniqua Valley was injured at the end of last cross-country season, was all-state during track in the 1600, and she looked good. She just moved away in the second half of the race and ran 18:12. What else? Normal West boys side, Plainfield South, 26-second split on their first 4 runners, and they easily won over Minooka. Their 5th runner didn't run, or one of their top 5 didn't run, and their 5th runner was back in 16th. So that tells you a little bit how their pack is working right now. If once they get that runner back in the top 5, they're going to be a tough team. But if they have to do that, they have a strong first 4. They need all of their pieces, all of their glue back together again. So they impressed me. I mean, when you run 4 in the first 5, Balzer was second behind. Came in Vignier of Plainfield South, 15:15 to 15:16. So, like I said, Plainfield South looked good. What else? A lot of big meets. Elena Rybeck at Bethalto Civic Memorial won by over a minute ahead of Eris Nelson of Althoff. Catholic, 18:16 on a humid Saturday morning at where was that, at Mascuda? But 18:16 winning time, over a minute over Nelson. There's a freshman, Natalie Beerbaum, ran 17:05 at Clinton last night. Wow, what a great race by her. Rochester, I had them ranked 29th at the beginning of the year. And we'll see how they do in the next week. They run at home in their own invite. But we'll see on that. But they had 3 freshmen in their top 7, or 4 freshmen in their top 7. 3 Zyberts now. Colleen. Oh, I can't remember all 3. I'll have to memorize those by the end of the year. But 3 Zyberts in the top 7 for the Rockets of Rochester. And that's really about it. Kane County, Batavia edged St. Charles East by 3. Batavia boys won, 50-64 ahead of St. Charles East. Rankings are not going to come out this week. They'll come out next week because you only have so many meets and there's not really a lot of data. Yeah, and I rely on data. I don't go, well, maybe, let me see, let me flip a coin. Oh, I'm going to move you to number 1. No, we don't do that here. We look for teams that deserve to be up there, and it's going to be really up for grabs in Class 3A boys. You have Plainfield South, you have Hinsdale Central. Hinsdale Central's number 1 for now. And then you have 12, 13, 14, 15 teams that could get into that 3rd spot. It is that wide open. So you have New Trier, you have Oak Park, you have teams like that. Plainfield North. I miss so many teams, but there are so many good teams there. Lyons Township, Downers Grove North. Like I said, they look great. Maybe they move up. They run this week at the Levy Invite in St. Charles. So we'll see how they run. They should be the big favorite in that meet. 3A girls, York defending champion, Prospect. They'll run 2 weeks, maybe 3 in a row at Palatine, and then Richard Spring, and then Lake Park. York is without one of their top 7 runners, Maggie Owens, who is their 6th runner most of the year, and she's out nursing a foot injury. She'll be back by state series time. They're making sure that she heals correctly. But York is so deep, and they have a lot of depth and all that. So does Prospect. So does Naperville North. Naperville North looked really good in their opening dual meet. Freshman, there's a freshman in the midst in Husky Land, so they're going to be a good team. We'll see what they do. They run this weekend at Pleasant Valley in Iowa. They always start there. They always run against some regional competition. And they always smoke that regional competition. So it should be the same, I hope, this weekend. Somebody from one of those schools is going, yeah, we'll show you. Yeah, whatever. 2A, Fenwick. It's so wide open between Fenwick right now and Grays Lake Central. And then here again, it's there. On the girls' side, in 2A, we'll talk a little bit about this in a minute. Grays Lake Central, Lakes is number 1 right now, but it's going to change. Vernon Hills lost 2 of their top 5 runners. They're still going to be up there. Lake County on Wednesday should be dynamite. Should be a great meet. But you have 7, 8 teams in that north region or section in Class 2A that are dynamite. They're good teams. Any of them could be in the top 5 at state. That's how good they are. In 1A, 2 Chicago schools. Latin School looked good last Wednesday at Elmwood Park. Only a 2-mile race, but they look good. And then you have DePaul Prep. That was 3rd in state last year, and they return everybody. They have one guy, Charlie Richardson, who's injured and is slowly coming back. So it may take DePaul a little bit of time. But we're not running the state meet this weekend. We're not running the state meet this. No, we're not. So have to keep an eye. No, we're not going to do that. On that. And the girls' side, Tolono Unity is loaded. They're the odds-on favorite, but you still have Winnebago, who will build from their 3 all-state runners. They could have 3 in the top 10 this year. And then they just have to build a 4th and 5th runner and get them a little bit closer to their to their top three. So, and then you have Father McGivney, and you have Rosary. Rosary looked good at Yorkville. They have 4 runners. They need to work on their pack from 4 to 5. There's a little gap there. But compared to the 3A schools, they were closer than I thought they would be to Yorkville and Minooka, who are only separated by 4 points. So we will have individual previews coming up. I'm not done yet. I'm not done. We'll have individual previews of some of the top runners in Illinois sometime this week. We have Hinsdale this weekend. That is going to be a dynamite meet. Love going to Catherine Legge. Love getting there early, walking around the course, chasing away the stray dogs that are running around there before they're kicked out of there. So, can't wait for that. We will talk about where all the schools are going in the next week, or next Saturday. We do a thing that talks about where schools are going to be at meets and so on and so forth. So check that out on Friday. It's a cool thing. So, one more thing. I wanted to try this thing. I doubt we're going to do it again. But since I've been doing this for 47 years, and I'm now 60 years old. Well, I haven't been doing it, but I've been involved in cross country in Illinois for 47 years. And I'm 60 years old now. So, we have a new segment called Get Off My Lawn. It's those things that drive me crazy that I see on Twitter. But I have to remember that all the people that are tweeting some great things on there are so knowledgeable. They know everything. The mute button on Twitter is such a great thing. So, and some of you are going, oh, I wrote this to him. I showed him. I didn't see it. And that. So, get off my lawn. What's one thing? So, as I'm going through putting out the previews last week, I saw people complaining, we've got to do something about the 2A sectionals. We can do this. We can do this. We can move. Vernon in 2019, Vernon Hills and Deerfield, they were moved down to. They were moved down into that Chicago sectional, so we can do it again. Now the problem is with that idea is in 2019 there were 5 sectionals in Class 3A, Class 2A. How in the world are you going to do it now with only 4 sectionals? And it's not the IHSA's fault. And it's not the way that they're setting it up. We had a tough sectional in 3A last year. But we don't have any place to move some of those tough Chicago schools, in the Chicago area schools. One suggestion was, during that time, before they had the advisory committee, is to have 5 sectionals, 2 regionals, have 9 teams qualify out of each regionals, qualify 6 teams to state. Very similar to what 1A is doing, where they have 5 sectionals, and they qualify 6 out of the sectional. Well, do the same thing in 3A. That was the suggestion that was made by most of the smart people that were saying that, except for the advisory committee that didn't even consider, well, we've got more teams. We got 3 more teams qualifying for state out of 2A and 3A. We got more runners. We got more individual runners. We're doing a good thing. Yeah, but we eliminated more runners and more teams out of regionals to sectionals, and now we have this mess where we only have 4 sectionals, and the IHSA has got their hands tied because they have no place to go with this. You have to be really creative. IHSA has certain rules. Trust me, they have rules on how they can set up sectionals. They're not written down, but your old Uncle Mike knows them. So, in the advisory committee, the people that were in charge of that in 2019, you're to blame. So get off my lawn. Quit saying that you can try to make things. Gotta go back to 5 sectionals. I'm just I'm just saying, we've got to go back to 5 sectionals, 2 regionals. Please don't tell me, well, we can't get enough regional. Right now, there are 2 sectionals, one in 1A. Yeah, 1 in 1A, 1 in 2A that are still TBA. I should say I'll pull the plug on those sectionals, and you'll have nowhere to go. So somebody make up their mind and host a sectional. There are 3 regionals in 1A, 2A, and 3A that still don't have hosts. Garber isn't kidding. He's going to cancel those. So get off my lawn, do something quick. An advisory committee, when you meet in December, let's throw that out again, where we can get more teams to state. We'll get 30 teams instead of 28. And we could get the same percentage that we had before. So there's my rant on that. One more? Okay, one more. So one of the things that I see during the track season, the cross-country season, I'm getting more and more emails from parents saying, this person should have been disqualified. Is there something you can do? I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? I mean, my dad was an IHSA official, so I have this. I can go, hey, it's Mike. I'm overriding this decision. We're gonna do it differently. We're gonna disqualify that person just because this parent asked me to do that. And I got another email. Well, this person didn't run with sportsmanship. I guess because there was a huge pack up front, one of the runners was getting knocked around a little bit. That's what happens in running, parents. So if you're new to running, it's going to happen. You know what I did when I got bumped around a few times? You know what I did? I took the lead, and I stayed ahead. I didn't get near those packs again, but I knew how to handle myself at the end of the year when I didn't want to deal with that. I could run in packs. A little there, here and there. So get off my lawn, parents. What the heck is going on here? I love you all, okay? But sometimes I learned one lesson with my daughter before my daughter started running, and I knew I was going to do it anyway. But this one coach friend of mine called me and said, so Megan's running. I'm like, yeah, she's going to start this spring or this fall. And he's like, don't coach her. Don't do anything. I talked to my daughter about philosophy of running and how you should feel during races and all of that. But whenever she talked about what was it? Whenever she talked about workouts, like one time she said, did you ever do the Man-Maker workout? I'm like, what's the Man-Maker workout? Oh, that's like 20 times quarters. And I'm like, well, go talk to your coach about that. Well, did you run it, Dad? I'm like, yeah, a few times. Except I ran 25 times quarters. I love that workout. I don't know how you can't love that workout. Because we used to run it on a cinder track, so our legs would get stronger during the year. We only ran it early in the year. But man, it helped us in the long run. So, let your coaches, one year where my daughter ran like a huge PR, and her coach came up to me after I stopped crying because she ran a huge PR, and came up to me and she's like, Mr. Newman, there was only one athlete on my team that asked me how I should run this race, and that was your daughter. And then the coach walked away and I started bawling my eyes out again because she was listening to me. So, parents, unless you're a coach, those of you who think you should be coaching your parents, please stand up. Not you, Gum. You're doing a good job. Not you, Paul and Kelly. You need to get down. You need to sit down too. All of you should be sitting down. Let your high school coach deal with all of that stuff. Let them coach. They'll do a great job communicating with you if you have concerns. It'll drive them crazy that you're asking questions. Well, I think my tire should only run this. So do that. Just do it for me for 1 week. And don't send me messages about, well, you need to disqualify this person. They should have been disqualified. I never answered it. I saw it like a few days later. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't see it that day. I would have gone medieval. So, and we're at 25 minutes. I think this is a good time to stop. So, get off my lawn. Oh my gosh. In the old days, we ran 25 quarters on cinders that were wet, and we had a 50-mile-an-hour wind that followed us all the way around the track, and we still ran 68 to 70-second quarters. We ran quarters. Didn't run 400s. We ran longer than you. We're tougher than you guys. I'm just kidding. Not really, but so everybody have a great week. The first weekend of the season, I think there's about 98% of the teams are running this weekend, or the next. Lake County on Wednesday. On Saturday, you have Hinsdale, you have Benton, you have Levy, you have the Chrisman Cow Chip Classic, where wear old dirty shoes because you're going to step on cow chips. You know what cow chips are. You're going to step on cow chips running around in that course. Where else? Granite City. I mean, there's so many good meets this weekend, and we'll talk about them all next week. I hope I'll write about them all. So, I hope everybody had a good summer again. It was nice talking to some of you in the first couple of meets of the season. And one more thing. Get off my lawn. If you see a gator that's leading a pack through, you maybe want to move out of the way. And if you see me shooting a camera, shooting the race, and you stand right in front of me, well, I'm going to say some go back and watch a few of my videos from last week. You'll see what I say. I'm really nice about it, but there are these two kids that had the most innocent looks when they're like, oh, I'm sorry. It was so funny, but they apologized right away. There are other parents that are like, I gotta get my iPhone out. I'm gonna get a great video. I can put it on Instagram for 4 seconds. I don't know. That's just me. Get off my lawn. Okay. So, everybody have a great week. Enjoy this first week. It's ready to rain outside right now as I'm taping this. So, everybody have a great week. Like I said, no changes in the rankings. We will do that next week. That'll be the middle of next week, where we'll release our first changes in the rankings. And then we'll have video from Hinsdale, maybe in a few other places that I decide to go to, just a hint. So, Sterling. Now I'm thinking of all these meets. You have Sterling. You have Riley Newport running this opening race, I hope. And not Sterling, it's Sycamore, sorry. So, that's about it. Maybe we'll talk about some more of this stuff that I've collected next week. That hat is an interesting story, so stay tuned for that. So, everybody have a great week. Enjoy your first few weeks of school. Take care of yourselves. Make sure that you're taking care of yourselves. COVID and other things like that. You don't want that to haunt you. And let's have some fun. Thank you for some of the beautiful comments that I have received by parents at the 2 meets I was at. And thank you to coaches. I really appreciate, I really got into writing the previews this year, the team previews. I send out about 300 emails. And I can show you all the emails where there were 80% of you, which is ridiculous because it's usually 65 to 66% that I get feedback on, which is normal. And that, I've been doing that for the last 9 years. This year was 80%. And so there are some great responses. Go read the previews. They're on ILXCTF.com. And next week we'll have a little more fun with this show. There'll be football on next week, next Sunday night. So I don't know, LSU, is it LSU? Florida State? Brian Kelly at LSU with a fake accent. That's good. So we're at 30 minutes. I got to stop now. So everybody have a great week. We will talk to you next week for another edition of Sunday Night with ILXCTF. Have a great night. Have a great week, everybody.